Hello, welcome to FinTech Impact. I'm your host, Jason Pereira. Today on the show, I have a repeat guest, or at least a repeat company guest. I have Sebastian Skwarek, co-founder of PreciseFP. PreciseFP was a guest way back on episode 26 back in the summer of 2018 with Sebastian's co-founder, Don, who basically talked about their digital onboarding platform or digital data gathering platform for financial advisors. Since then, a lot has changed, and I brought him on the show to talk about just how much has changed. And with that, here's my interview with Sebastian. Sebastian, thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
My pleasure. So Sebastian Skwarek, it's been a while. Remind people of what PreciseFP is.
PreciseFP. We evolved a lot since the last episode. There's a lot that changed. But in a nutshell, PreciseFP is the virtual data gathering platform, client onboarding platform with an ability to fully customize the journey of your client, bring that data in-house, and then share that data with the tools that advisors already use. So the platform itself makes an easy way for advisors to get rid of data entry once and for all.
Excellent. Which, let's face it, the single biggest obstacle in onboarding a client is data acquisition, especially in the financial planning realm, because the amount of data we need to gather to do the job properly is pretty substantial. So you've done that. Let's talk about the different functionalities to it. And then I want to talk about what the actual user experience looks like, both from a client and advisor's perspective. So we identified a number of kind of core features. In your mind, what are the key tenets of what it is you guys do?
I think the key features, there's a lot of features within PreciseFP, but I think key features that, number one, advisors come to PreciseFP to use are ready-to-use fact finders, personalized and customizable fact finders that are ready to use out of the box. Basically, the difference is that these fact finders are dynamic. They can be personalized case-by-case basis. So that's number one. Number two is ability to collect that information via fact finders, then fillable PDFs with it. So now that basically eliminates a lot of data entry right there. Either you're signing a service agreement or you are opening an account opening process. So everything is built in within PreciseFP as well. Also, another big feature is entire template library of forms that are ready to go, ready to use. So I think that's quite important. And that's basically, we got risk tolerance and IPS as well, but I really don't want to get into that. I think the main features are the ability to build a journey from start to finish in really automated way with the components that are the fact finders, the PDF mappers, ability to kind of get that data, fill, and then move that data to tools that advisors use. Either it's a CRM or financial planning software.
Excellent. So, there's a lot there. It really seems like you're there for the life cycle of the client's data from inception. Like you mentioned lead gen. So how do you capture lead gen information from clients? What are you giving them a value to gather that information?
Yeah. So lead gen is also another piece and a component of PreciseFP because PreciseFP is so customizable. So we do have a category that is called lead generation. And those lead generation pieces are basically nothing else than build client engagement, interactive client engagements that either you can take them out of the box as we give them to you from a template library, or you can build your own. So, those are just initial either little tests for your prospects that are coming into your website or social media to take, based on which you can offer them something to download or free consultation, or whatever the case is, the lead gen has it. And then based on that information, once it's entered and flows into PreciseFP, you then can engage the client with a fact finder, simplified fact finder to collect just initial amount of information to see if the client is the right fit, or with the extended fact finder. Then if you know that you don't care and just you want to get all that information from a client, you can. But the beauty of PreciseFP that you actually can automate the whole journey. So from the prospect coming into your door through a lead gen, then landing within PreciseFP, you can schedule and configure PreciseFP. So we'll fire up another engagement and send that to your client based on some triggers. So either it's an income or whatever the case is, it's data driven. So you can really configure anything that you want and it will do things that you want to do based on your process. And you're going to get that data from your client, hassle free, and then frictionless really way.
So, and that data, I mean, I've been a user of you guys for a long time. The fact finder, I mean, you built a very robust fact finder. I mean, at the end of the day, I can go in, drag and drop elements in, build whatever pages for questionnaires, embed videos, extra content. So really, however I want to design my client onboarding experience to look like, I mean, you guys pretty much enable that at this point, correct?
Yeah, it's actually, we took it not one step further. It's that we build no code environments. So a RIA or any firm of any size no longer needs IT to build a journey, right? So now you can come in and do it yourself. So you basically drag and drop fields. You build a form in a dynamic way, and you can use as the foundation forms that we already built, because we've built dynamic forms that basically do not overwhelm the user with the amount of fields that the user sees on the screen, your client. So you don't want to send a client, 1,000 fields to fill when maybe only 40 are something that are relevant at this point in time. So we give you an ability to set conditional visibility, and things show up on the screen as client fills the form. So more data they fill, more there is to fill, if there is more data to fill, if you need to collect more information. So you can control that flow. So that's important, and that's easy to configure by the advisor. In addition to that, to make it even easier and from a user experience better for your client, your prospect, we have something called digital advisor assistance. So basically, you can put in little pop-ups, messages that would open only on a given page, on a given field, kind of guide your client through entire process. For example, hey, dear client, do not forget to send me your bank statement or some other statement, anything that is to be uploaded. So you're really limiting the errors. You can create a journey that really validates the data that is being entered. So on the end of the day, within the first try, you get a complete client snapshot and you're ready to do your work. And let's not forget, big chunk of the time and cost is associated with client onboarding and the data gathering. So we really eliminate that. Recently, one of the groups, one of the advisors, one of the bigger groups just sent us a nice message and they just said straight up, like, listen, I started using PreciseFP before filling out account opening documents and getting the data from my client. It took me 2 hours. Now it took me less than 30 minutes. So that's 1.5 hours saved per client just with one use, because they were able to fill 5 documents at the same time with the data they collected. So it's huge. It's just it doesn't get better than that.
So you helped me gather all that, which is fantastic. You talked about, the ability to populate forms. I mean, so besides the, let me e-sign a, letter of engagement, you guys have a lot of custodial forms built in already. So account onboarding is also a possibility here, is it not?
Yeah. So right now we partner up with Schwab and TD, and we're working on Fidelity as well. That should happen very shortly as well. But any other custodian, we have other Pershing and other ones that are out of US and within Canada. You can actually use fillable PDFs. So your custodian, if you have those PDFs, you can simply import those fillable PDFs within PreciseFP, and they're ready to use. We have 2 ways of engagement and electronic signature. Is our own advanced electronic signature that we offer for free of charge. So that's a lot of savings right there. Second is DocuSign. So we have an integration with DocuSign. So if you have DocuSign already within your practice, you can use it within, and you can enable the integration, and you can use that electronic signature on the PDFs that you will upload to PreciseFP. We are also working on 2 new ones that we'll be releasing in the second quarter of this year. It's HelloSign, and the second one, actually there's 3, but we're thinking we're going to only do 2. We know we're going to do HelloSign, and then I'm not going to mention the second one because we haven't made the decision yet, but there's more choices this coming year.
Good. Well, I mean, everybody's particular about what they want to use in that regard, right? So you kind of have to accommodate. And then it's not just about, getting the data within your system. It's also about, like you said, pushing it to other places. So, you have a list of integrations. Can you talk to me about where that data can flow to?
Yeah. So, either a CRM or a financial planning software. If we do not have a integration with a given financial software, most likely a CRM has it. So either way, you will be able to move the data from client-facing application, which is PreciseFP, into your CRM and then into financial planning software. So that data will always be moved in a correct way, depending on your process internally. But from CRM perspective, we integrate with RedCell, Wellbox, 4 flavors of Salesforce, XLR8.
That's the flavors of Salesforce, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's different overlays. It's crazy with the amount of different overlays that, everybody has their own preference. But the beauty of our system, because we really want it to be customizable platform, that not only if there is no integration, we have public facing API that we enable only to approve companies, and you can actually get that API access to your account, and you can pull that data into any backend system of your choosing. So really, really, really flexible, really customizable, even the mapper themselves within the integrations. So if something is not mapping the way you want it to be mapped, or you build something custom within your CRM or financial planning software, you can remap it yourself. You don't need any IT knowledge. You basically, you have drop down fields and you select, I want this field to go into this field in a CRM. And that's it. So we really made it really flexible, really easy. And so you can really build that into your process. And most of the things within PreciseFP, it's ready to go. So, we've been in business for 14, now it's going to be almost 15 years. And so we learned a thing or two about client onboarding and really a lot of things that are within PreciseFP and based on advisors' feedback. So we wanted to make sure that what we're implementing, the features that we're releasing are something that advisors will use. It's not something that we came up with because we thought it's going to be useful, but really that was something that's been requested, something that has been requested by a lot of firms because everybody requests different things. But we really want to accommodate the group, and really the main features of what advisors will use will need to be within PreciseFP, and we made that happen.
And I think one of the estimates to how you managed to kind of end-to-end integrate all this is that you have a number of use cases where people have essentially built their own robo-advisor, essentially utilizing your platform. Care to speak to that?
Yeah. So, when the advisor phenomena happened, some time ago, we basically realized, wow, it's PreciseFP just became this manual platform where RIA and any advisor can build their own robo. You build that automated approach, you everything is customizable, and it's really the journey itself, it's quite easy to implement, and you have use cases that are ready to go. And yeah, that's all I can say. It's basically you can do it within 30 minutes to 1 hour by logging into PreciseFP, creating the journey with automation from collection to data, with a trigger-based engagement that will be sent out subsequently to your client to get more information. So it's basically as easy as that.
So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I like to say robo-advisors just showed us all how bad our experiences were for onboarding and, cracked the code of making it simple. And unfortunately, most of us still don't have something that compares to that. But there is the ability to build that now, which is pretty fantastic utilizing your system. So the big news with you guys is that you got acquired earlier this year by DocuPace. Care to speak to that?
Yeah, it's a big news because we've been this front end to a lot of different platforms, and a lot of companies wants to integrate with us. We have a huge lineup, but DocuPace, came into our picture, and it's like, wow, there's so much synergy there, and we just said it makes sense. They do an amazing job on the back end of any wealth management firm. So they have this huge engine with engine rules, with workflows, and really they do a great job. But they were missing the front end piece. And now by combining two, and we still in integration phases of both systems, but once we finish, hopefully by mid this next year, 2022, and we're going to show really a powerful platform that will be available to advisors that, they will be able to kind of go end to end from collecting the information in a really customized and personalized way with a great user experience, then taking that data and then managing that data on the back end and using the back end workflows, approval processes, form filling features to open the accounts and do other things that they need to do within their firm.
Yeah, I mean, it's, when I saw the announcement and we had spoken previously, and you alluded that there was some news, which when, fintechs tell me that there's some news and they can't tell me what it is, it's always M&A. So I'm just left guessing at who it was. But when I saw who the dance partner was, I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I agree with you. The synergies were, you're more the front end piece to to what they provide. So I totally see what the appeal was.
Yeah, and just to speak to that, and we really want to build a ecosystem for the advisors to be able to complete everything from end to end, to limit the amount of tech that you really need within your firm, because there's so many things that people tell you to use, but really, on the end of the day, you just use a fraction of the functionality. So we want to really make and enable the right tech that you would be able to use and you can use within your practice. And data gathering is one thing, and then managing that information once it comes to you in a proper and elegant way on a back end.
Yeah, I mean, data is the lifeblood of the industry, and the industry finally woke up to that. So I mean, you're being the tip of the spear for acquisition, I think you're in a good position to capitalize off that going forward. Now, I don't always dive into pricing on this, but in your case, I'm going to ask you to talk about it, simply because I often get people saying, well, yeah, I can do data acquisition. I can ask questionnaires through paper, which is always hilarious, or things like, I can create like a Google form or something like that. And I'm like, okay, you could do that, or you could get this turnkey system here and it costs X. And most people are just like, what? So talk to me about how you price this.
So number one, you cannot never compare, Google Forms or fillable PDFs, because the difference is first impression counts with your client. So if you will send a long PDF questionnaire to your client, or really unsecure form with Google Forms that it sits on the cloud and Google has access to it, that's not a good thing, right? So what you want to do is engage your client with something that is precise. It's precisely tailored to your client, and you are able to do it case by case basis with PreciseFP, and that's what clients expect. So first impression counts. Use a platform that your client expects you to use. And number three is actually that is super secure. So no more passwords. With PreciseFP, we give you the ability to kind of send a secure questionnaire. There's no passwords. So you can pick a option that allows you to collect that information in a secure way. But then your client, you don't want to send another link to another portal of your client. You got to remember this password again to log in. Well, we give you an ability to kind of go around that. So that's one of the key components. And as far as pricing, right now the pricing is we charge you $60 per month for a first license, and then a second license is $30 per month. This cost will go up starting January 1st by 14%. So we're going to be charging $69.
Oh God, no! You're breaking my bank on that one. I knew inflation was bad, but 14%. I'm kidding. Continue.
Yeah, so it's still really an expensive system. We listen. As far as the pricing, everybody when they start using our platform say, like, really, we paying just this much? It's like we would be willing to pay a lot more, but we know, we gotta be really careful, because there are advisors that they have less clients. There are advisors that have more clients. So we didn't want to be transaction-driven platform. We just want to give you the best of the best. And there are plenty of features within PreciseFP that are available to you within that price. As risk tolerance, as IPS, there are other features that are available to you. $69 per month for initial license, $34 for the second. And for any subsequent licensing users that you're going to bring on board. So that's basically is the cost for you to use all the features within PreciseFP.
So yeah, I mean, it's I have to refer to you as one of my little, one of the first softwares I typically advise people to take a hard look at. And there is, let's face it, there is a learning curve. There is an amount of time that has to be invested in the front end to get everything set up the way you want. But as I tell everybody with this stuff, and I always get annoyed when people are afraid of that, it's invest the time now, and you won't touch it again for God knows how many years. I mean, I think
exactly.
I don't know how long ago I onboarded with you guys. It must have been like 7 years ago or something like that. Now I need to go back and re-engineer some stuff, which I plan on doing next year. But I mean, even if that took me a solid week to invest in getting you up and running, like I've been reaping the benefits for probably 7 years now without any interruption of my business. So it's, and I would say you guys are a very, like you said, you're no code, right? No one has to worry about learning how to learn Python. It's drag, drop, follow the videos that you have online to teach people how to do things. I mean, you got a pretty, your support's been great. I've used you guys in the past. So yeah, it's user-friendly and meets a very basic need very well.
Yeah, and just to also speak to support, one of the things that we're really proud of is our customer support, because this is where we meet our clients. So we always going to give you a walkthrough the minute you sign up. We're going to reach out to you within 48 hours. We're going to schedule a meeting with you to make sure that you understand what you're getting into and how easy it is to navigate throughout PreciseFP. So we give you pointers. There are things that are ready to be used out of the box. It's no brainer, and the user experiences and the learning curve is quite insignificant. Then towards the end of your trial, we're going to meet with you again. And just to make sure that, everything is, you have set up the system the way you want it to set up, and everything is there that you want it to be there. And, we're going to help you configure things if something was harder than you thought. But on the end of the day, the learning curve is quite small. Our support is amazing. If you send us a chat, we literally have metrics. We respond to a chat within 1 minute and 7 seconds. So that's an amazing metric that we're proud of, that, that we're able to kind of engage the client and resolve any issue within 5 to 6 minutes. So it's just with a great support, great platform, easy to navigate system. It's good to work with an environment like that all day.
Excellent. So before we wrap up, there's 3 questions I asked everybody to make you think. The first one is, if you had one wish for something you can change in your company or the industry as a whole, what would it be?
Actually, it happened. It just happened. It is the acquisition of DocuPace and that we're part of DocuPace, because overnight we have given access to thousands and thousands of advisors more. We are building this amazing ecosystem that will become a norm within the wealth industry. We are on top of the world right now. It's just, it happened, and I'm really, really happy about that. There's more to come in the next 6 months. Just watch out for it, and we're going to be doing some announcements really, really soon.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Not too many people say that my dreams already came true, but it's we're a second question for you. What's been the biggest challenge in getting the company to where it is today?
The biggest challenge? I guess juggling a lot of balls, meaning, everybody requests different things, and having really the balance between what's right and what will not work. And just, I guess, one of the great aspects of PreciseFP and PreciseFP team is that our team that is building PreciseFP, they're really strong in saying no to different things.
I know. You've said no to many things I've requested over the years.
Yeah, because sometimes it doesn't make sense, because it could make sense to one person or a couple of firms, but may not make sense to other people. And so we try to make sure that we don't want to hurt any feelings, but sometimes, and so we still need to say no to some things in the favor of other things. So that was the most challenging, I think. If I could, we would implement everything, but at the end of the day, we want to make the system really easy to use, manageable. We don't want to overwhelm advisors with the amount of features. We want to make it simple, and we wanted to really bring a difference and a benefit to advisory firm.
Yep, I hear you. The last one is, what excites you the most about what it is you're working on and gets you still keeps you getting up every morning to keep on fighting the good fight?
You know what we do is, I know we make a difference, and quite often we get messages, through our support portal. Everybody within the company can see these messages that come through. That, how much time and what kind of difference we made within the given practice. That, some people really before thought of us as nice to have, but once they start using it, they can't stop using it. They're amazed that, how much time they're saving, how much money they're saving. And they basically, if they would known, they would have been using us, from 3 years ago. So I think seeing that we make a big difference and we keep evolving, because every year we say, okay, version 5, okay, that's it. We can't put anything more in it. But no, there's more. So we're on version 6. Yep. So it's and we already think about version 7. So it's we keep building these blocks and keep evolving the platform to, number one, put more features, but at the same time, make it still easy to use. So that's the goal. And we are really happy. I'm super happy to hear when the people are happy to use PreciseFP. We really being everybody talks about it favorably. And we became from 10 years ago, from nice to have to must have tech within the wealth practice.
I hear you. Yeah. I mean, my biggest challenge is keeping up with your development, being like, oh, I can do that now. I don't have, 2 days to block off, but the base utility I signed up for is still there. Now it's a matter of taking advantage of everything else. So
exactly. Yeah.
Sebastian, thank you so much for your time. I sincerely appreciate it. And as anyone who's listened to this in detail or heard me talk about it before, I am a fan. So take the time to check it out. Definitely worth the $60 a month, or $69. I'm sorry, it's going up in price per month that I pay. So thank you yet again.
Thank you, Jason.
And thank you for joining me yet again for FinTech Impact. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, or wherever it is you get your podcasts. Until next time, take care.
This podcast was brought to you by Woodgate Financial, an award-winning financial planning firm catering to high net worth individuals and their families. To learn more, go to woodgate.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, or find more episodes at jasonpereira.ca.